Hi guys, my name is Shikhar, your MBA buddy, and I'm back again with yet another video in my ISB admission video series. So if you haven't checked out my other videos, you might want to check out by clicking the cards above. Today in this video, I'm going to do a really interesting stuff that is to showcase you my ISB application. And while I give you this walkthrough, I will tell you about some of the pitfalls that you should avoid and some tricks and suggestions that can really elevate your candidature. So without wasting any more time, let's begin. I have my ISB application open in front of me, so let's dive into it and see what it has to offer. First thing first, in the section A, you have to fill your personal details. One field that really catches my attention is about a session that you might have attended which was conducted by ISB. To this question, I have answered yes because I attended one of their workshops in Bangalore. And I really think writing a yes leaves a good impression on the AdComs because it really shows your interest and eagerness to know more about the school. Although it's not a make or break question, so if you haven't attended any question, then you can actually go ahead and mark no. But I strongly suggest that you follow their Instagram and Facebook pages so that you get regular updates about any events that they might be holding. If you get a chance to attend one, you can actually mark this as yes. Second question that really catches my attention is about the campus preference. And as you can see here, I have mentioned my campus preference, which is Hyderabad. Now, this was a make or break decision for me. So similarly, if it is a make or break decision about which campus you want to attend, then go ahead and show your true intentions here. If it is not a make or break decision and you are okay with attending any of the campus that the ISB has to offer, then you can very well mention that you don't have any campus preference. That is also absolutely fine. Moving on, you have to fill your parents' detail, your contact information, spouse details, mailing address, and so on and so forth. In the section B, you have to fill in your test scores. Now, ISB won't ask you for your TOEFL scores, but you have to fill either of the GMAT or the GRE scores. For me, it is the GMAT, and you have to fill as is whatever you have scored on your GMAT. In the section C are the education details. Now, ISB does ask for your class 10 and 12 marks, which is not very likely of the US or the European B schools because they are not bothered about your class 10 and 12 marks. Then moving forward, you have undergrad, graduation. You have to fill in the details, what it asks for. Section D is where things start to get interesting because you have to fill in your employee information, your day-to-day activity at your work. And if you don't know, then ISB doesn't ask for resume. Whatever you fill in this employment information section becomes your resume. So again, write it in the comment box how many of you didn't know about this fact that ISB doesn't ask for any resume. So you really have to carefully fill the details in the employment information section because you want to create maximum impact through your work experience. So you have to fill some standard details which I'm not going into, but one field that you really want to fill carefully is the employer activity. Especially if your organization is not very well known, then try to make this sentence a very impactful one. Moving on, we have two subsections, job responsibilities and the initiatives and achievements. Each has 5 points that you have to fill. Now, each of the point is character limited. Exactly, I don't remember how many characters we get to fill, but my guess is we get to fill around 100 to 150 characters, which is good and which is bad to some extent. Good because you avoid writing unnecessary story or the long sentences, which is bad because you have really limited number of characters to create an impact. So avoiding unnecessary prepositions and keeping your sentences simple will certainly have a bigger impact with your job responsibilities and the achievements that you have. And irrespective of what work experience you have, how many years of work experience you have to fill these five plus points. Now, this is not a compulsion, but it is a best practice. If suppose you have a 5 years of work experience and you are not able to fill these 10 points, then it really gives a bad impression on the AdComs. So irrespective of how many years you have spent in your work life, be it 2, 3, 5, 10, you have to fill these 10 points. Now again, this is not a compulsion. Even if you fill one, ISB will let you submit the form, but you don't want to do that way. You want to fill all the 10 points. Now, some of you might ask that you might not have as many initiatives or achievements from your workplace if you have only worked for, say, about 2 or 3 years. But then you really see my first point, which is about conducting workshops in Germany. Now, this is something which I see that not many people would get an opportunity to do, be it in SAP or outside SAP. So definitely I took the leverage of showing it as my achievement. So you have to think hard about what you are doing in your day-to-day activity that is very different or might be showcased as achievement just because not many people are getting to do it. The second question that you might have is you don't have certificates or trophies to show your achievements or certificate. You got some praise from your manager or from the higher authorities, but you don't have any certificates for it. Then really look at my fifth point here, where I have told that one of the board members endorsed our product. I don't have any certificate to prove this. At max, I can ask my manager to verify this for me. So if anything that you can get verified from a reliable third-party source, then don't shy away from putting it in your achievements and initiatives. Also be prepared to mention your salary figures, your CTC and your last drawn salary. Some information regarding your manager, your HR. ISB won't contact your manager or HR until the stage of due diligence. That is only after you have accepted your admission offer. You don't have to be bothered about whether ISB will bug them or not, because ISB will not. If you have multiple work experience, you can fill it in a similar way. One thing that I want to mention here is about the reason of leaving your previous organization. You don't want to write petty reasons like office politics or a better pay package in the next company. You really want to show your growth trajectory. That is, you got better responsibilities, you got much more better opportunities to learn at your new work, something to showcase around greater accountability and responsibilities. So you have to show growth in your career. Moving forward, we come to the section E, which is the evaluator section. This is the letter of recommendation. ISB will send a link to the person you have mentioned here. He or she has to fill form which becomes your letter of recommendation. Now the best person to do is your direct supervisor. People who are not eligible to do this are your juniors, your peers, or anyone from senior position whom you know in a friendly gesture but who might not be able to comment upon your day-to-day activity. You don't want to make your letter of recommendation look compromised. You want to make it look like as authentic as possible. So choose your evaluators carefully. Moving on, we have awards and activities. So I have put awards and activities in the chronological order, but if you have something stellar to show, something very unique, something very difficult to achieve or difficult to get, then you can always put it on top as your first achievement or award. Also, I would like to mention, always try to quantify what kind of award you have achieved. For example, here I clearly mentioned that I performed in front of 200 plus people, which to my mind is not a very easy feat, considering that I am not a professional actor. I would have left it by saying that I won a movie spoof award. Then it really doesn't make any sense what kind of award it is, why you were given that award. It doesn't give any perspective, doesn't have any context to it, and makes your award become a useless point in your application. You don't want to do it. So try to write as many quantifiable points as possible when you are writing your awards. Moving on to the hobbies, this is my favorite part of the application, because in a detailed application like that of ISB, you can really take the leverage of getting creative in writing your hobbies. You don't have to forcefully write constructive hobbies. For example, if you are a software developer, you don't have to forcefully write that you are into web designing or you follow the latest trends in the tech industry. If you are really not into it, you don't have to forcefully mention it or try to form those kind of hobbies just before starting out your application cycle. So you can really get creative here and try to showcase your personality as is. For example, I've written about how adventure seeker I am, how I like to explore the chef within me, or or how I like to take up the volunteer activities. So this, I think, adds a different dimension to my personality. If you manage to watch the video till this point, then I would really appreciate if you can write a comment below if you found any value in this video. And while you are scrolling down, hit that like and subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. So moving on to the essay, the first essay prompt is about why you should be the one in the class of 900 for the 2021 class. This is the year which I was applying for. Now, before I start analyzing my essay prompt, I want to mention here that this is not the question where I try to show myself as a unique or a different candidate from the rest of the candidates. This is the question where I really focused on my strengths and the unique journey that I have had. Because I know these two things together, the strengths and my journey, will automatically make me a unique personality or will make me stand out from the rest of the class. So let's see how I tackled my essay. Also, before starting the essay, I want to mention that this is not the only way of doing things. You can write the essay in the most creative way and still add value to your application. So this is not the only way. There are multiple ways of doing it. Choose the one that most suits you. There's no right or wrong in it. So the first 3 or 4 lines I reserved for building a personal brand theme. That is the theme or the first impression that I want to have in the minds of the AdCom members or the person who reads this essay. So the theme that I was exploring was of giving back to the society. Whatever I do, be it the organizations that I am associated with or the work that I am doing for my community, I always try to give back to the society. So this was the theme actually I was exploring in my application. And for the journey part 1, I focused on my undergraduation education, like the academics and how I was involved in different clubs, few of the clubs that I led, few of the community service which I did. I really focused on those parts to make my journey part 1. And for the journey part 2, I focused on my work experience at SAP, how I went above and beyond to certain things which was not part of my day-to-day activity, like being part of the cultural committee to organize certain events or to be engaged in the public speaking opportunities that the company threw at me, and so on and so forth. Really something which added value to my organization and to my personal growth. I put those things in my journey part 2. The important thing that I did was to take the elements from my journey part 1 and part 2 and to connect them with the broader theme or the overarching theme of my application, that is to giving back to the society. That really makes the essay strong and engaging to read. And for the final note, I put a couple of lines in a fancy language summarizing what I have written in the other 3 paragraphs. For the second essay prompt, it's really straightforward. It is actually asking you for your short-term and the long-term goal and how ISB is a natural fit for you. So let's see how I tackled this essay prompt. First, I highlighted the skills that will be used for my post-MBA goals. For me, the short-term goal was the product management. So the skills that I showcased was my interest in technology, how I developed the Scrum Master skills while working at SAP, some designing skills, coding skills that I can use in my product manager role. So the skills that are transferable to my short-term and the long-term goals. For the short-term goal, I already told you that product management was one of my focus. And for the long-term goal, I put something that was a natural progression or transition from the short-term to the long-term. That is to manage the portfolio of products for a big multinational company. So my short-term and the long-term goals were pretty easy to defend and made a lot of sense. The third paragraph is where you showcase your eagerness or excitement about joining the ISB. You have to do that by doing a thorough research about which clubs you would like to join, which classes you would like to attend, also which of the networking events you will make the most use of. For the final thoughts, again, a couple of lines in some fancy language will do, depending upon how much word limit you are left with. For the scholarship details, there are multiple scholarships that you can choose from, but you can only choose one if I am not wrong. I'm not sure about this, I have to double check, but the one that I chose was the AT&T scholarship, which I didn't get It's very hard to get scholarship in ISB. I believe only 10 to 15 people out of batch of 900 get some sort of scholarship. So really competitive there. Luckily, I didn't have to write any essay for applying for this scholarship, but depending upon the scholarship that you choose, you might have to submit additional documents or have to write an additional essay. For the section J, that is declaration, you have to fill in some random questions like, have you ever been convicted of any crime, or about any disability that you might have. But the question that really interests me is about any family member that went through the ISB PGP. This is not a make or break question. It will not move your needle from no to yes when it comes to your decision. But definitely it's good to have yes if you do have a family member who has attended the ISB PGP program. It can act as a referral for you. And finally is the signature and the date. So this is pretty much what I had to share with you in terms of my ISB application walkthrough. I hope you found value in this video and you know some tricks and tips, also some best practices to fill your ISB application to elevate your candidature. So this is pretty much from my side. Until my next video, take care.